Target, hit, execute. I just want to make manga. What do you want in life?
Ninjakees.
Yo ninjas, welcome back to the channel NINJABOX. Ishhh doing, and what did you eat today? Yes, welcome back to another party time episode after some time, months ago, last year. But finally back with another party time episode, and I want to check out something new, test it out with you ninjas. If you would enjoy it or not, just let me know in the comments after the video, or if you have seen already a part of it. So in this video we're gonna ink the main character, Party Skullhead. I already made a sketch a few days ago. This month of February, right now it's the 25th of February 2020. And yeah, we're gonna ink it. So I made the ink sketch. This is what we are going to work towards in this video. And then afterwards at another video we're gonna also check out the coloring stage, which I finished today. But in this video we're gonna check out the inking of the video, and I'm gonna just voice over it so you have something to listen to while you see the inking process. Because yeah, else it's just drawing and hearing the sound of drawing. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it. Yeah, well, let's just go through it and go into the inking process. So for this inking process I mostly use the G pen. In this case I use a G pen that I ordered some time ago online. It's a G pen with the red, which I enjoy. I enjoy the red of the G pen because yeah, that's now my color. It's not my favorite color though, so yeah, the main character is still gonna be green. Curly Skull is the main character of the series. The manga series is like a Shonen manga, battle manga series, like One Piece, Dragon Ball. Well, not like Bleach, because Bleach is more like an isekai, right? They go to another world. Like isekai in Shonen manga or in anime or something is like, isekai means basically going from the normal world to another world. That's isekai. But in party time will stay in the world itself. So far I know or have planned for it. It's just like Dragon Ball or One Piece. I think with Full Metal Alchemist also in one of the movies they go to another world, the real world, let's say. So that is sort of an isekai, right? Or a reverse isekai. From what I remember, like this movie, Full Metal Alchemist, you have like alchemy, that's sort of a superpower. You have to make something equivalent of trade, and then, you know, that type of power. But then they go to the normal world and they don't have the power anymore or something. From what I remember, it was years ago. But anyways, yeah, party time is like not an isekai. It's the world itself, you know. Yeah, lately I've been reading Radiant. That's a manga from Tony Valente. It's a French manga, but it's still shonen manga. It's published by Angma. It's called Angma, I believe, in French, and then it was also published in Japan. I think because of Yusuke Murata, the creator of One Punch Man, or he actually made a art to promote the manga. And it's also read from right to left. So with party time, the manga, the new one where I'm working on, the 50 pages pilot, or about 50 pages, will be read from right to left, like the standard manga way. I think like in the West, even though you don't read normal books from right to left but left to right, I think most manga fans, shonen manga fans or other manga fans, are kind of used to it right now, that you can read a book from right to left and not per se left to right. But I think it's important as a manga creator that you can make your manga, well, it depends on what you want to do with it, of course, but for me I think it's important to also do it from right to left, so that it's easily adaptable. In Japan, for example, that there is a gate open for it that is not closed yet. I think that if you do it from left to right, I'm not sure if in Japan you can actually, like if they publish stuff from left to right, like reverse import manga. So let's say like here in the West, or at least here in the Netherlands, or also from America, like Fizz, one of the big translators in manga, like for shonen manga and all that stuff, they translate it right to English, but it's still from right to left instead of flipping it, like back in the days they did flip it. What was the point again? So yeah, basically in the West you can read a manga from right to left. It's like I guess people still used to it, but not sure if it also reversed. So let's say you have a left to right manga or something else, a comic or whatever. Like if in Japan or elsewhere where they read from right to left, if they import it without flipping the pages, you know, and then just have the same idea. So in the West it's probably weird at the beginning to read from right to left, but maybe it's reversed also in the East. Like they import stuff and it's, this is from left to right, and then it becomes also like, oh, they get used to left to right. But for right now, I think that right to left is important. So it's just, you only have to translate it, and then it can just go in the market over there if there is an option for that at some point. Not completely sure about this. This is just my speculation. I have not researched everything yet. But the biggest market for manga right now is still Japan. And then the second one is French, I believe, because they also have it in the supermarket and many places where they sell it. So it's like a cultural thing. Like you can easily get it if you go outside to shops, stores. Like over here in the West, or at least in the Netherlands, there are some manga stores, but it's not easy to get. So you cannot just go to the supermarket and like, hey, here's a manga. You know, it's like you have to specifically go to a special shop, like a comic book store or something like that. For example, in Rotterdam, there are like 2 places from what I right now know that have them, like Yendor, they have mangas, and also Donner, or it's now called something different. I forgot the name right now, but they're basically 2 places where you can get them. But it's not like easy accessible for people that don't specifically search for books or comics, you know. So they probably would see it less as well then. So yeah, here inking with the G pen, and yeah, I really like the G pen still. Sometimes it's hard that you don't smudge parts of the drawing, like because it's still wet, you know. That's why also in this drawing try to more go inking from left to right like in the West instead of right to left, because I am my hand is right where I draw with. It's like let's say I was left, it might be better to go from right to left, because it's, you know, how you draw. That's something, unless you can draw with both hands, you can go yeah. So not sure if the sound is too loud on my voice, but probably have to turn it down a bit. But yeah, the inking is still I enjoy it. I also have like a hair dryer if it's needed. But yeah, sometimes just have to wait a bit for it to dry, or maybe use different paper. But for now, like you have deleter paper, that's like special manga paper, specifically for manga. Like it has the rulers on the borders. You have similar comic book paper probably also. Yeah, you have it most likely, but this one is specifically for in Japan the manga. It's deleter paper. You have different sizes, what you can also use. But yeah, for me right now it's expensive, and you have to also ship it and all that stuff. So I just bought some paper some time ago, 160 grams paper. I used to draw on thicker paper, but then you on the light table it's harder to trace it. So now I have 160 grams paper, and that's where I trace it on. So first I have like normal paper where I do the sketch, like a more normal A4 sized or A3 sized. Sometimes when I draw on A4 sized paper, the paper is not big enough, so I just tape a piece extra on it so it's bigger. That was also the case with this drawing. Sometimes I just maybe start at the wrong part of the page, or haven't expected yet that the drawing would be so big. But in the end, I prefer to draw on A4 or A3 sized paper because there's more space on it, but it's just harder to organize it, like in folders and stuff. But in this case, it's a bit bigger than A4 size paper, where how big the drawing originally is, and also the inking. So I just have a A4 size paper with a little bigger piece on it, and I just took the A3 sized 160 grams paper. That's a bit thicker than normal paper, so that it can still hold the ink, that you don't scratch through it.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what I did with this one. And I have to say, it works quite good. I did got some deleter paper some time ago. It was smaller though. It was A4 size, I believe. But it's better to get the bigger size. Like I believe in Japan you have the that's a little bit bigger than A4 size paper. And it's handy that the rulers are already in them. But for now I gonna use the 160 grams paper that I have, and yeah, you have to measure everything yourself. That's one thing. It takes time to measure all that stuff. So in a way, it might be better to use deleter paper now that I think of it, or other comic book paper, manga paper, so that you already have the rulers set for you. Like they have the ruler lines are like light bluish, so that when you scan in on black and white, the colored lines don't get scanned. But most of the times I scan in grayscale, because sometimes when I have my inked drawings, it doesn't take all the lines I drew. For example, I have small little details of black lines, and I scan it in on black and white. Sometimes it doesn't capture all the lines because it's too grayish or fake, or too tiny maybe. But yeah, most of the times I scan it in grayscale instead of black and white, so that it does take all the lines, but in gray or black and white. It's still black and white sort of, but I guess it captures a bit more lines. Well, it depends. Maybe it depends on how you do it. But I remember that when my blue lines were too thick, so years ago, when and then too dark, basically, the blue lines, and I went over inking it there, and I would scan it, it would still capture some of the blue lines, from what I remember. But yeah, that's also something to check again, if it still is correct, or maybe just have to, maybe the lines were too thick of the blue lines, and that's why it got captured in the scanner. So yeah, ninjas, what mangas are you reading recently? I currently am only watching or reading One Piece, if it's online, like new. Next to that, I recently read Radiant, like I said, from Tony Valente. Now at volume 5, in the middle of it. I have it right here. It's really good. Even though it's French, it looks really good, you know. In art and story. Sometimes it feels a bit like that the words are too much for the balloon. But yeah, so far it is really good. I shouldn't flip it, spoilers. But yeah, that manga now also have an anime. I heard some reviews of the first season, or some things online that it's not completely correct to the manga, so that people say again like, oh, the manga's better. You know, you always have this with entertainment, like you have one piece of content that's in a medium, for example manga this time, and then it gets adapted to anime, and then certain things don't fit well. But I still think that it's a great marketing for the manga, you know, for people that only read or watch anime, and maybe can get into the manga. That's what most manga, like from what I read, Full Metal Alchemist, for example. Full Metal Alchemist, one of the greatest classics of manga. You know, started with manga, and then I forgot the numbers exactly, but basically it was like you first had you had the manga, it sold a certain amount of copies, then the anime came, and then the amount of copies sold tenfolded. You know, it were raised 10 times. So the anime is like the marketing for the manga. So yeah, man. But here I'm just talking about the manga as well. Sort of same thing, but different. I think it would be great, like if actual big creators can also make videos like this, talking about their process and stuff. But they don't have time for that probably all the time, you know, because it takes so much time to create a manga, and you have to publish like a certain amount of volumes each year, unless you're on hiatus. Hiatus meaning on a break or whatever. You just it's like a break and you don't know when you come back. Like with Hunter x Hunter and I think Berserk now and Vagabond. Yeah, it's a lot of time and life you have to put in your manga. Literally, because it takes a lot of time to create it. I still have struggles with the story, you know, to fix the whole system of the world, so that it all makes sense, because you have to know this up front, I think. So many puzzle pieces, and then also you have to draw it right, that it looks good enough, like that you see it in your hands and it's like, yes, this is great stuff, or good enough, you know, or because like there's so many mangas out there and animes, like each year they're coming out like 200 plus anime series each year, but not every one of them are like great, super great, the best, you know, but they are still being made, you know, so yeah. But the anime creators also work themselves to death, you know, because they have passion for it, for the anime or the content that they work on with. For example, you're a fan of Naruto, and now you're gonna work in an anime studio drawing keyframes or in-between frames for Boruto, for example. Like, you were a fan when you were little, and then you go work in that studio to work on the anime, you know. And also with anime, I believe the stuff gets outsourced from Japan to China or Korea or something. In Korea, they also do a lot of animation. I think mostly from what I heard from LeSean back in the days, from his videos, that a lot of them get outsourced from America in Korea, but probably also Japan and Korea, you know, working on anime. Yeah, man, so many things. And like in Japan with anime, it's also like they're sort of a family. Like many studios work for each other, like doing certain parts. Like you have certain scenes or something, and then they send it to another studio or whatever, where someone draws the middle frames or the tween frames. So you have like the key frame that's like 1 point, and then it goes to this point, but everything in between has to be drawn as well. And for example, they send that out outsourced and then let someone else do that stuff. Yeah, so many things that come to mind. Yes, just speaking from the mind here about the industry, I guess, from what I know or think I know. Yeah.
Do it!
Yeah, this is most of the drawing. But this is only the front view, you know? Like if you have the actual full design, you need all the sides. Front, back, character expressions and all that stuff. You need all those kind of things for a manga. So you know the characters, like with anime. You need to know all the sides of the character in 3D, sort of. Expressions and how his face shape is and all that stuff. That needs to be solid before, you know, you can work on the main thing, I believe. But yeah, this is the drawing inked piece of Curly, the main character for Party Time. The manga, this is not a final design, but I wanted to experiment with the suit a bit for this one, making some changes than what I previously had, just to check it out, you know. Yeah. So the coloring will be also coming up ASAP, not sure when exactly. But for now, this is the inked piece. And yeah, if you're interested in manga or what series are you reading, let me know in the comments, or any animes that you watch, or other content, you know. If you create manga, anime, or any creative comics or whatever, all your inspirations and, you know, things you want to put in them doesn't only have to come from the content that you're making, you know. Anime and manga in this case. Yeah, man. So yeah, ninjas, let me know if you enjoyed it in the comments. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Triple thumbs up if you... Yeah. Alright, ninjas. Thank you for joining once again. Thank you to all the patrons once again for the support, and everyone else watching this or consuming the content in any way, shape and form. Yes, ninjas, that's it for this video. To be continued on the next one. NINJABOX is Chili, and see you ninjas the next time. Ninjakees!
Ninjakees.